The New South Wales Government continues to spend the vast majority of taxpayer-funded advertising dollars on the very social media platforms that they acknowledge are destroying the fabric of our communities." End quote. Our local community regional newspapers provide vital advertising platforms for our small businesses, and they can also help promote tourism by showcasing regional attractions, community events that are coming up, food festivals, our country shows, farmers markets. They are a key role in giving a voice to local concern and interest. But one thing that we know is that the numbers of these regional newspapers, unfortunately, is heading downwards. And I'll speak in a minute about some of the publications that we have no longer got in our country, towns and cities. But our concern, of course, is that this government is not doing enough to support these regional newspapers. We know before the election, Labor put in some PBO costings, announcing that they were going to double the regional media fund, which had actually started under our government, from $3 million to $6 million. They were going to put a further $3 million in for advertising in regional print media. And print media is the key here, Mr Deputy President. The Labor government has since listed in the budget paper just $3 million for regional and community newspaper support, which they say will better support regional media in diversifying and expanding digital content. But that misses the point, because that is not what people are asking for. That is not what regional people want when it comes to their news services. You know, we were in here yesterday debating the bill from the member for Barwon about better communication, better consultation with people in the regions. What they want is to have their local rag. You like your local newspaper. You want to be able to pick up that print edition, see what's happening, celebrate the sporting teams who are doing well, the school kids who are achieving. If it's time for local government elections, the profiles on the candidates, news from your local MPs as well, advertising for local businesses as well. That is what people are looking for. And this is what the Country Press Association and also Australian Community Media have been calling for. Now, they wrote a letter to the Premier earlier this year, which I raised in estimates, making the point that they are seeing government advertising spend from the New South Wales government in regional newspapers fall by over 40% in the last 12 months. So in the spend prior to the election of this government, the 12 months previously, there was $2.6 million being invested in government advertising spend in these regional papers. The first 12 months of this new government was only $1.6 million. So that's $1 million hit on the advertising revenue that these papers need to survive. As I said, in the last 2 years, we've seen ACM forced to stop printing 16 free community newspapers. A further 16 weekly mastheads have disappeared, including Lismore City News, Dungog Chronicle, Glen Innes Examiner and the Country Leader as well. And that has meant 208 New South Wales positions have been made redundant by ACM as a result of that declining ad spend. That's real jobs, that's real people. Now, one of the things that these organisations are asking for, both ACM and the Country Press, is for the government to commit to having one page of government advertising every week in every one of these papers. And what that will do will help significantly with the cost of production and distribution as well. It guarantees that they can keep the doors open, that it can keep people employed, but also that local communities can keep getting that local content. So the cost for a one full page ad for 48 weeks across all 110 of these regional publications to government would be $9.4 million for the year, which is not a lot when you consider the government advertising spend. It would keep these papers open and it would provide important information back to the community. Things like when the breast screen van is going to be in town, or the latest road safety information, or the domestic violence campaign to stop domestic violence happening in our communities, or whatever the government advertising priority is, can be printed in these regional papers. It is really, really important that in this place we back our regional newspapers. We know that the government spends millions of dollars in advertising money. Put some of it into these country newspapers, keep the doors open, keep them printing, and back the bush by your actions and not just your words.
We do support the motion. I will be moving an amendment though. We do acknowledge regional newspapers play a vital role in keeping regional communities informed, providing individuals with a collective voice and holding people in power, businesses, organisations and institutions, including this government, to account on matters of importance. Newspapers and in fact all forms of media not only inform but provide a platform for people to voice their opinions, call for change, promote initiatives, inspire achievement and to support the community. We also shouldn't forget about regional radio and television. We're talking about regional media and providing information to regional communities. While the ABC is government funded, on private operated stations, local businesses take the opportunity. ABC is publicly funded, but private operated stations take the opportunity to promote their services and products through advertising. We're all aware of the impact of social media and online media on traditional media like newspapers. These entities have taken away advertising and readership, while cost increases for paper supplies and transport have put traditional local newspapers under considerable business pressures. In August, the Central Western Daily in Orange, the Daily Liberal in Dubbo and the Western Advocate in Bathurst stopped publishing weekday print editions, shifting to digital only on Monday to Friday, with the paper only being printed on Saturday. The government is best placed to make an informed decision on how to spend taxpayer funds and is best placed to know what advertising is required, when it's needed, and how much is required to be effective and efficient. The government is committed to supporting regional media, and that's why our Regional Media Fund, which is designed to support innovation and sustainability for regional New South Wales media, last year funded $2.25 million to 47 regional media organisations. The government, and I in particular, will have more to say soon about additional support for regional media following discussions with organisations such as New South Wales Country Press, which have been referred to here, to determine the best method of providing that support. The amendment that I will move is that the question be amended by omitting paragraph 4 through increased government advertising to regional publishers, including significant and ongoing funding for official advertising in regional mastheads, because again, we understand the critical role that regional newspapers play as a communication channel to regional communities, but the government is best placed to determine where the spend is, and I note the call from regional media. We've had discussions as a government with them in relation to this, but in relation to advertising and how taxpayer money is spent, it is taxpayer dollars. We have a responsibility to make sure that taxpayer dollars are being spent in an appropriate way, and we do support regional media outlets to be able to get information to the public, but I will move that amendment.
Can I say at the outset that there is absolutely no way that I will be supporting the amendment from the government, which effectively takes out the guts of the recommendation of this motion to say that we want increased government advertising to regional publishers, including significant and ongoing funding for official advertising in regional mastheads. And the reason why I made sure that that was included in the motion today is because that is the direct ask that came from ACM and the Country Press Association. I want to acknowledge the President of the Country Press, Lucy Pert, and Tony Kendall, who's the Managing Director of ACM. That came in the letter that they sent to the Premier in March this year. They asked for significant and ongoing funding for official advertising in regional mastheads in print and online mediums. And what you've had today is this Labor government, and what makes it worse is it's the Minister for Regional New South Wales has come in here and moved an amendment to say, no, we'll cut that and we'll just say we'll support you, but we won't actually give you what you're asking for. Now, I will acknowledge that post-estimates, the Premier did meet with representatives from the Country Press Association and the Australian Community Media. And I would also just like to put on the record, though, that there was a direct quote that came out of that meeting, which was sent to me yesterday from Tony Kendall from ACM, which says, and I quote, ACM and the New South Wales CPA met with the Premier 5 weeks ago and the matter of increased support for regional journalism was raised. The Premier recognised the important role trusted news plays in the wellbeing of communities. He committed to speaking with the Treasurer to see if increased New South Wales government advertising could be directed to regional publishers. It is concerning that we have no feedback since then, and the New South Wales government continues to spend the vast majority of taxpayer-funded advertising dollars on the very social media platforms that they acknowledge are destroying the fabric of our communities, end quote. That is not Sarah Mitchell saying that. That is not the Nationals or those in the coalition saying that. That is a direct quote from these regional publishers. They came and had their meeting with the Premier. They've heard nothing since, and yet what they get from Labor today is coming in here to an amendment, completely ignoring their request, cutting out anything that actually requires the government to do anything and honour their commitment. They said they would spend more money in these papers. They are not, and they are falling down one after the other. Now, the Honourable Sam Farraway talked about what was said in the Blaney Chronicle, and I just want to add a couple more things from Blaney. Before Chris Minns became New South Wales Premier in 2023, Labor promised a greater share of government advertising, quote, but in another broken promise, New South Wales government spending in regional newspapers has in fact gone backwards under Labor. And the last lines, to long-standing Blaney readers and advertisers, thank you for backing the Blaney Chronicle. If only our federal and state governments cared about local news as much as you do. I'm happy to table that document, Mr Deputy President, because it's the regional papers who know, it's the voters who know that you guys are letting them down. You should back this motion as it is and stand up for country papers once and for all.